Alright, so now we want to create a detail view, which is basically going to be the view which is going to show one recipe in its detail. So let's go here and add a new file, and that's going to be a basic UI view controller, and that's here. Let's call that recipe detail. And then change that to a UI view controller, and then we want to have a save for the user interface. Save that in the foodie folder. Well, as you can see, normally I would actually group all this into groups so it would be easier to find later, but right now we just want to get to the nitty-gritty, get the view out and get our application out there. So now we have a view. That's a recipe detail. So what this is gonna have is gonna have a large image for the dish. Let's pull a UI an image view onto the stage. It's kind of too big. Let's size that. Let's make that smaller. It's gonna be a pain. Okay, yeah, that's better. Okay, so that's that, and then we need a text for the title. I would say let me put the title below the image, so let me drag that up a little bit and then drop the text for the title there. So that's one, and then we also need some information about the ingredients. So let's use a text view for that one. So drop in a text view for the ingredients, and then we're good to go, I think. Let's just give that some information so that it looks better. That's that. And then I need some ingredients text, so let me go copy text from an app I had before, finished version of the app. Okay, so that's it. And then let's copy some images as well. So let's put a default image just to see how that would look like. So if I copy these two images, so I have two images here, food and food large. I'm going to put that in my resources. So let's make a folder under the recipe foodie app. So I'm going to make a folder here called resources, and then paste those two images in there. And I'm going to add the resources folder to my project. Add files to foodie. Say resources. Check on create groups for any added folders, just so everything's all in a group. And now we have our two images in there. So if I go back to my detail view, I can now select that and then choose the large image for that. Okay, so that's looking good. And then let's actually choose the smaller image for our recipe list. So that's that one. Okay. So I think we're almost done. We have our detail view and we have our list view. So the last thing we need to do is also hook up the detail view to the list view. So basically when someone taps on one of the lists, they get to the detail view. Alright, okay, so if you go back to our recipe list here, and then look for a file, a method called did select row at index path. So this is basically what will be called when a user taps on a cell in your list. So before we do that, we need to also add our detail view. So let's import our recipe detail. So we create a new instance of the recipe detail here. Let's call that detail view. And then we will push that onto our navigation controller. We haven't set up a navigation controller yet, but we're gonna do that soon. And I think that's all we need to do. So right now our navigation controller is not set up yet. So if you go back to our app delegate, let's just make a new navigation controller just so that our views are pulled into a navigation controller. So if I make a new navigation controller here, this is in the date finish launching with options function, by the way. And let's say the first view controller is gonna be our list. So recipe list. So we're gonna have to do this after we declare the recipe list. Okay, so instead of pushing the recipe list as the root view controller, our root view controller is now our navigation controller. So now if you run that, let's see what we get. Okay, so this is our list. Okay, so we see that the height of our rows are not as large as they should be. So let's go change that. So this will need to be done in our recipe list view controller. So there should be a method called, I think we'll have to create it. So it's called height for row at index path. So this is going to give us, so this will need to be, or this will be able to, we use this to configure how high each of the cells are. So to find out how high they are, let's go back to our recipe list, no, our recipe cell, and actually find out the height of this. So right now our height is 86. So let's go put the value 86 here, and then run that again. Okay, so now we see that our lists are actually higher now, so that's spaghetti bolognese. We can see our navigation controller now showing up there. Then we tap on that, and then we get the detail for the recipe. We can see that the image is a little bit stretched there. We can change that by changing the settings of our image view. And let's do that. So if you go to recipe detail, and I say this should be the mode, we need to set the mode. So if you set the mode to be aspect fit, no, actually aspect fill. So this is going to fill up our image, but then still keep the dimensions of the image. So let's stop that again and then run the application. Great. So we've got here the list again with spaghetti bolognese. Everything is the same for now, but I mean when we actually connect to our cloud or to our API, we should be able to get different recipes here. And if you click on that, tap on that, that's our detail view again with a nicely stretched image and the title and then the ingredients for that recipe. Click on back and then we're good to go. So the next step is to now add the design to this application. So now we want to make sure that everything looks all neat and nice, and then we can connect to our cloud server and get some real recipes. So that's going to be in the next video.